Welcome back after a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year hiatus. We are back, the Samaras sisters, both with a lisp. I am Krista Samaras. And I'm happy to be back. I'll say at the top, before we introduce ourselves or reintroduce ourselves, we are so excited to be here because we love lacrosse, and that's the simple, short story of it all. We are also happy to be talking to a million people in the lacrosse industry that don't necessarily just coach college sports. We would say collectively, the two of us, I don't want to misrepresent you, Steffi, but that there are conventional ways to be broadcasting about lacrosse, and those spots are really limited. Even as the sport grows and we get more games on TV, you have the same people doing the big games, and they are fantastic. And you got a lot of cool up and comers who are really great. So like our hats off to Sheehan, who crushes. Yeah. I love Courtney Connor too, especially when she does AU during the summer, because she can like just take up airtime and talk about everything so well.
I think
I love Rachel DeCecco.
4 hours of airtime for Courtney.
I mean, she's so good at it. She's so good. 4
hours of airtime on a 4-hour delay. It was hysterical.
Well, but you know what? Like I think it was last summer where I caught her by the pool, like our parents' pool, and it was like, did 4 hours just go by? And we talked about everything and nothing. It was amazing. She's amazing. I think Rachel DeCecco is really good and smart and brings like an angle of analysis to the game that's really interesting, particularly because she holds all those like facts and data in her head. Yeah. And then I'm gonna say the unsung heroine award for last year is Taylor Cummings. She came in hot on a Maryland game and I thought crushed it. I learned a lot from watching the game, and I thought her insights were really and particularly great. Kylie O'Miller,
she's
moonlights.
doing well in the too. Yeah.
She crushes. She does all the Stony Brook home games. So there's a lot of spaces. There's halftime shows. There's sideline reporters. We're adding so many different elements in. And so I like that there are so many different people out there. I myself do the local Princeton games, which is really exciting. And I've done the Ivy League championship for the last couple of years. So, there's just a lot more spaces. Listen, neither one of us, you kind of went a more conventional route with the college coaching. Yeah. I was a club coach from the very beginning. I did coach at Yale, but I liked that sort of route of not taking the general path. I don't know. Maybe I was also just, I don't know why I did take the general path. So this is not the general path. Women Up Lax is just here to have fun.
Describe what Women Up Lax is. And
I mean, go, because this will be fun for me to hear, because I have no idea.
Well, I think that, we are two women's lacrosse players who sort of like transcended the...
Wait, pause. Your lighting is gorge. Okay, like I said.
This is, that's
your good side?
I'm so into makeup right now. I have none on. I just woke up. I don't know if I brushed my teeth. My kids are fed.
They look white. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, thank you.
All right, go ahead. So wait, what is Women Up Lax? Sorry, I digress. But I think when a girl looks good, you got to tell her she looks good.
Girl, I agree with you.
Right? I'm telling you.
Women Up Lax is basically a forum for us to talk all things around the sport, or sometimes not even about the sport, but about empowering women, what empowering women looks like right now, what women are going through in the sport, outside of the sport, affected to the sport, with regards to the sport, all that encompassing one great place. And I think that, we've both experienced our hardships both in and out of the sport, I think. And now we are just want to be open and talk about it.
Oh my God. I love somebody who's open. I love vulnerability. Like it's a security blanket, but so let's go for it. Well, let's first start lacrosse. Let's also be really clear about who we are. I'm Cristi Samaras. I really identify as a creative, an artistic person, but I did happen to play lacrosse. I played at Princeton and for the USA team. Steffi, you tending your children?
One of them just fell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You go and I'll introduce us both.
Okay,
you need to go
good.
deal.
Hold on
okay. So I'm Kristi or Krista or Pickles, whatever. I played at Princeton and for the USA team. And I've been in the sport forever. I feel like I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, so it was a hotbed of lacrosse. Obviously, my sister Steffi, who's not there, right there. She's not there. She's dealing with her kid who seems to be crying. This is just how we're gonna do it these days. Steffi was a powerhouse defender. She went to the University of Virginia. She graduated in 2001. 2000, sorry, right, because I failed out of college that 1 year, so we're only 1 year apart. You were ACC, all things, and All-American, and both of us never won a national championship. We laugh because we still cry. We lost, both of us, for that 7-year run that Maryland was crushing it. But the thing is, okay, because let's just talk about the fact that Maryland lost pretty big yesterday to Syracuse.
Well, first of all,
Take a moment.
It took me 10 minutes to realize. I even texted Colleen Scherer from James Madison. I was like, why is Marge Donovan not in the game?
Wait, why is Marge Donovan not in the game?
She said, I don't know. And I was like, I don't see her on the field. Like, she's their tallest defender by a good, 7 inches.
Okay, so pause. You're packing up, and so many people might not know. Let's follow the train.
Okay,
so
sorry.
Maryland has played Syracuse last night. They lost, what was it? 20-11. Marge Donovan, who Steffi's talking about, is a highly talented defender from Princeton, the Tigers. And she's doing her aerospace mechanical engineering, smart people stuff at the University of Maryland. Yeah. So obviously she's
game. It was amazing. And
you watched it?
Yeah, it was amazing and horrible all at the same time.
Wait, where do I find it? This is where I don't understand the streaming one.
ESPN Plus. You've got to
pay for it. Oh, can I get your login? Can I get your login?
Get my login.
Okay, go. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna watch that retroactively. So wait, did you find Marge? Did she play?
She was on the sidelines. I mean, she was on the sidelines.
What'd she do?
I don't know.
Should I text her? I got her number.
You text her. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's the
okay. I'll find out what to report back.
I will say that I wasn't surprised in watching the game. Syracuse was functioning on every synchronicity, to use a mom word, or whatever. All the synapses were firing.
You mean our mom, Kathy Samaras? Pause. If you don't know Kathy Samaras, just Google her. I'm sure you'll find all the things that are true or not true.
Literally, I mean, you saw one of the girls even scored on a Dianne Whipple.
Wait, Dianne Whipple, stop.
I know.
Okay, Dianne Whipple was a player from way back when, Penn State. Am I correct?
Penn State or Loyola.
Penn State or Loyola. Look it up. Okay, talk about Dianne Whipple. She was skinny, small. I got to play with her in 1994. No, 1990.
In Vail, right?
1992 in Vail on Team Ullman. Yeah. Dianne Whipple was an absolute freaking gem. Stoic,
we called
amazing.
A shot the Whipple. I don't think we've ever in the sport of lacrosse called a shot something.
Yeah. So it's show the shot. It's you kind of back like this. It would not be that popular. No, well, I guess it is popular today. You kind of take your wooden stick.
Let's put it
right. You take your wooden stick. Yeah. You hold the top and you whip it back behind you.
It was a high powered shovel shot.
Okay. The thing about Dianne Whipple is she was killed in a dog attack. And so that my heart broke. I'm trying to find out where she went to college. Penn State.
Oh, okay.
And was a member of the women's national lacrosse team. So she's an incredible giant in our sport, though she was a tiny woman, but super amazing. So I love that you. Yeah. So wait, who did it? Who did the Whipple? Do you know?
It wasn't.
I'll bring up Syracuse.
It wasn't one of their big time players, and this is where when I say big time players, Meg.
You mean Emma Ward?
Back. Meg Carney is back. Emma Tyrell's this was her second game back after her ACL. It was just, I mean, these kids, this Adamson kid, legitimately, they were sick. They were, and Maryland couldn't.
But what about them? Please tell me. What do you mean sick? What do you mean by sick connection? Yeah.
Connections on the field, the ability to just see each other and find each other. And you could see it happening with Maryland. It just wasn't happening at the speed at which Maryland is probably used to having it happen.
Or was Syracuse just much more slicker?
Well, Kaylee Schweitzer in the cage, and I don't know if her first name is Kaylee, but her last name is definitely Schweitzer.
Okay, let me find out. I'm trying to find. I mean, it's really hard to get the roster right here. Okay, but wait. Okay.
Their goalie, keep going, Schweitzer. Literally, I mean, she I don't know how to say it other than she literally ate Maryland's attack for lunch. It was, they shot. They probably shot as many times.
I see a Savannah Schweitzer, and she looks like a 5'9" midi. So we sure.
There's a Kaylee, or look for the ones with the G's next to their name.
Girl, stop. Oh my God, there's an Acacia on the team. Okay.
Hello. That's Acacia Connor. That's Courtney Connor's
Kimber Hauer. She looks like the goalie.
Acacia Connor is Courtney Connor's daughter.
Stop it. Stop it. See?
After Acacia
Dude,
Walker-Weinstein.
Stop it. Stop it. Come on. Is that true?
It's so true. Courtney
Wait.
admits it.
Oh my God. Stop. I can't even believe my life right now. How are we already having this kind of a moment? Steffi, I think you're wrong about the goalie. What's the goalie? Delaney Schweitzer.
Yeah, Delaney. So I got the
Delaney
Delaney part.
What happened to Kimber Hauer?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So she's 5'9". This goalie, you're saying Delaney Schweitzer crushed. I like her bob. She has an incredible bob.
I mean, crushed.
Okay. Well, wait. I said Emma Ward, but Emma Ward is where?
Number 44. Emma Ward.
Oh, okay. Okay. How did she do?
She did. She did well. She did well, but they didn't have to use her. That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh my God.
I assumed going into the season that Emma Ward was going to be like, and don't get me wrong, she was definitely but like the Syracuse's attack looked like North Carolina's attack from last year. Like, oh, you want to take?
Okay, now what would Kayla Trainer say if you said that to her? Do you think she'd be like that would be a compliment to her, or do you think like do you mean like the style, or do you mean like just the connections? Like they are so smooth.
The
threats. Endless threats.
Threats. Like, oh, you take out this person, don't worry, I'll hit you on the backside with these 5 people.
Now, Tyrell, did she tear her ACL last year?
The younger did. Meg Tyrell played in all games except for 5. But she was missing like the people that she was connecting to because she plays the crease. So I felt so bad for Maryland because I love Lori Kennis was my roommate in college, the assistant at Maryland. I was so excited to watch them play. I thought this was going to be like the most evenly matched game of the weekend. And you could just see like this, it was really a third quarter crumble, to tell you the truth, because they came back. Syracuse was up by 3 or 4 goals 3 or 4 times, and Maryland came back in the first half from being 3 or 4 goals behind.
The thing is, and this is where like you can't, these teams who know how to win, you're talking about Kayla Trainer as a coach and player, you're talking about Kathy Reese, who has won a bazillion as a player and as a coach. Lori Kennis is a part of that staff, and I'm sure all their assistants everywhere. The beginning of the season, like obviously it means a lot. This is where you're starting, but coaches like that, I mean, for Kayla Trainer, I imagine like, wow, this is a great performance, but like we still need to be 75 million times better by the end of the season. And so Maryland just now knows where they need to close the gap to the current best, which looks like it's probably Syracuse
and
or UNC.
The runs that both teams went on, it was really interesting because you look at the score and you think 20-11, there was no way that Maryland could have gone on runs. They went on like at 2 separate times 4-goal runs.
Interesting. Yeah, man. So why are the scores so high? Because of the shot clock, because of the quick start, because of the free position shots?
I personally like, again, and she's considered the preseason goalie of the year, but Maryland's goalie just didn't have a good game. I mean, just that was that. What's
her name? I'm gonna get it. Okay. Keep talking. I got you.
That I think also just meshed with like defensively, they just didn't have a good game. Like I don't think there was one specific thing that was like, they need to do this better. Oh, wow, Cristi.
What? Stop doing that. Julia Hammerschlag, is that their goalie?
No.
Okay. Emily Sterling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
she, so like, at the end of the day,
she had some great saves at the end of the game. I think bring her confidence back up. But like, talk about mindset with like a particular.
I mean, goalies are incredible. Do you know that?
And do you know that we 3 or 4 times during the game, like, Kathy, sub her out really quick so she can get a break.
But sometimes that's the worst. Sometimes if you...
No, I agree. I think keeping her in there and letting her sort it out herself, like
resilience,
she's
man.
going to be better in the long run, I think. And that's where I like the difference in me, like Kathy and Kennis having to make that decision in that type of game. Talk about a completely different decision that they're having to make in that type of a game, whereas Kayla and Kenzie and her assistants are trying to make completely different decisions. Like, do we play people? Does Maryland go on a 4-goal run again against us? Do we keep our starters in? Like,
is 9 goals enough to be up and still win? I know against Maryland. That's the thing, is like, it's so crazy these days. So wait, you talked about just with you and Kennis. Obviously, I'm going to do the game today between Princeton and UVA, which is exciting. So I had to do a little bit of research, a little bit of prep. I talked to Julie last night, and
what
I was like,
say about me?
I mean, she said that you're doing very well, that you two are very resilient, and that you feel like it feels like you're really starting to become for real happy.
Oh yeah, like
yeah.
No,
I said, girl, that's hard fought happiness right there.
It's really hard fought happiness, and like I feel like I'm coming out the other side.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, the I don't want to say mess I've been in, but like, you know, women are in messes all the time.
Yeah.
And it's how we come out of them that makes us stronger.
Yeah, it's so I'm talking to her last night, and they're just preparing for the game against Prince today, and she's like, every team, you know, even after, I mean, this is her 29th season. No, she said that it's her 28th season.
Overall,
sorry,
yes, but her 26th as the head coach.
It's her 28th. It's her 28th season as the head coach.
1997.
1994, 1995 was her first season as a head coach.
Well, she was technically the interim in 1995.
Is that 1996? Anyway, she's been around for a long time. I think it says the website says 28 seasons, but guess what? UVA is celebrating 48. It's 48th lacrosse season.
Oh, I'm so happy you found that out.
Yeah, I found that out. And so, like, they head into the game tomorrow, and I was like, listen, you've been doing this forever. Like, do you still like it? And she's like, every season is so fresh. What?
That's over half. She's been there for longer than half.
Totally, but I didn't actually know that she was sort of just starting as the head coach when you were there. I guess Jane Miller was. Hello. I remember Jane Miller being there.
I called Jane Miller, and I was like, hey, Cristi says you want to talk to me? And she's like, call Julie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was when I was in high school.
Oh, all I remember is Gary Gate left a message on our machine. God. That phone number we had 410-268
3445.
No, not 3445. 2048. Yeah. No, 2046. 2046. That was Corey's line, and Gary Gate left me a message there, and I was like dying. I was like, it was like, hey, Cristi, we're just interested in you at the University of Maryland. Like, we think you're like a good player and would love to chat about you coming on a recruiting visit back when we did official visits. If I could have saved that thing forever, like it was. I would
have saved mine from Cindy Timchel. Cindy called me at 7 a.m. on September 1st or whenever they were allowed to call it back then, because it was different. It must have been July 1st actually. Hi.
That was Mamie. She just walked in and just backed up. Wait, so that back when it was so different. Yeah, I mean, we have stories for days, but let's get back to Prince and UVA. Anyway, Julie said she's so happy you're happy, and she was talking about how even though she's been doing this for decades, that every team represents a new season, represents a fresh start. Every group has a different personality, and so I think when we go back to the Syracuse Maryland game, like, teams are still just getting to know each other, right? Like this high level competition, when you open up the season, when you're especially in that D1 intense, when the cameras are there and you're really prepping for stuff, and you go like Syracuse Maryland head to head, and there's some bigger head to heads happening today and this weekend. Like you all the juices have to start flowing. Like it's not the same.
Well, and we forget,
as a fall ball.
And sometimes we forget. And I even did this yesterday. I'm like, why is I questioned myself, like, why is Maryland playing like this? They've already played a game. They're the last college season of the year this spring. They've had all fall. Like, why is this happening? And I forget that, like, it doesn't matter. This is competition now against somebody else. They still have to figure it out in those games.
Yeah, well, everybody's figuring it out, and I think they're figuring, no matter how much. And Julie was like, our team is so meshed. Our team is so connected. And I'm like, there's no connection like that is better than, or there's no way to connect, even if you go on a trip to California as they did, and they get the overnights and they get the fun stuff. Like when you start playing a game, when there's ups, when there's downs, like that's when the tissue starts to really mesh. And I think that like Maryland has a lot of connective tissue opportunity, to coming out of this game. And Syracuse, I feel like being the one who won, it's almost even more difficult to look and see where can we go from here. Though I'm sure that Kayla and her staff are like, we know exactly where we need to improve because, they're
I would
coaches.
say for Maryland, like Abby May, I think her name's Abby May, their leading scorer from last year. You could tell that like she was trying so hard last night. I think Corey Edmondson, who is the number one recruit in the country for Maryland, like got some really good time and learned a lot in the game last night. Like, I could see her like learning over the period of the game. And I think she probably had to play more than they expected her to play, which was awesome. So I do see some, like, first of all, I'm not worried about Maryland. Like,
well, no one's worried about Maryland. You know what I mean? Like, they got there's confidence so deep in the core of that program that, like, you just think about going to Maryland, even if you're 46 years old and you feel better about yourself.
And I think along with Princeton, they're celebrating 50 years of women's lacrosse at both of the schools.
Maryland and Princeton are celebrating 50 years. I have to look in to see the rest of the programs that are, but yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. But UVA Princeton, I'm excited to see clearly on the UVA side, like, what Rachel Clark and Ashley McGovern can bring this year, and like where their defense has changed. They've had some coaching changes. So
they have Brittany Dipper now.
Brittany Dipper and Allie Kennedy, which will be awesome. Yeah. I think it'll be a fun little flair to the offense. Clearly,
and championship mindset. So Julie actually said, she was like, listen, bringing in like having our attack basically return and our guns like return, it has allowed us to then focus on the defense, because the defense and making our defense better ultimately makes our attack better. So,
yes.
Having the coaches changes that we did is allowing us to sort of hyper focus and develop their defense. And she's like, what could we be with a defense that's really robust? And I think that's really interesting. And on the Princeton side, you have Jen Cook in her first season after Chris retired after 37 years. And she's like, listen, she worked for Chris for 10 years, and Karen Marr, her assistant, I think Karen was there for like 4 or 5. And so, she's like, to Chris's credit, a bunch of years ago, basically like, let us do the thing. Let us do all the scouts. Let us look on both sides of the field. And so she feels like it's a seamless transition. And, it feels like weird that Chris isn't there, but it doesn't feel weird that Chris isn't there. So I really like talking to Jen Cook, because she went to UNC. She was a badass, is a badass. And the way that she talks about our players is she's like really interested in this being player led. And I think that's a really dramatic difference from when we played, which was like, it was top-down energy. And she's really talking about, I'm not sure she's talking about bottom-up energy, but I think she's talking about, we're on the same level, we all have eyes, we're all here, and how are we navigating this entire space? So that's going
to be really interesting to see, like, the shift of, I don't want to say the shift of Princeton women's lacrosse, but just like, I will say that, like, when you have like a Chris Saylor or a Cindy Timschel walk into the room, things change. Like how you hold yourself changes. How you, like, your just demeanor, everything, because of their just goatness. Like it's just one.
Well,
of
it's like
things.
A wisdom packed with like a presence, packed with like an intelligence, packed with like a history and experience and expertise in the sport. I remember just calling Chris last year for prep for games, and I would be like, I mean, can you just explain a slide package to me? Only because I really just wanted to know, because she would have never called it a slide package.
She would never have called it a slide package.
You know what I mean? Like
a triple, double, thruple slide. Before she called it a slide package.
She'd be like, they're trying to find the open girl, and we need to bring somebody into the space. She doesn't have an accent, but that's just me. All right, we have to wrap up this week. So tell me the other games that are happening.
So UNC Florida, I think that's going to be a great one, especially with the transfer that Florida got from UNC.
Ho.
It's week 1. You want me to know names already?
You're the lacrosse person.
I know.
Okay, we'll get back to people on that. Don't worry. We don't need to know everything.
I think Rutgers Georgetown is going to be an interesting one.
Dude, Rutgers is ranked in the top 6 or something?
Boom! I mean, Melissa Lehman's got that she's got that shit dialed.
Okay, first of all, who is Melissa Lehman? Tell me about her.
She's the head coach at Rutgers.
No, I know that. Tell me about her backstory. What?
I don't know the backstory. I just know that she's damn good.
Okay, we're gonna bring out backstories. Let's bring her on. Bring her on. Okay, that's your job.
Loyola Hopkins is gonna be a really interesting one, because Hopkins, with the coaching change of Tim McCormick from Arizona State, I think that's gonna be, Hopkins. I actually do think Hopkins is gonna be a team that looks very different than they did last year.
Oh my god!
Just from
I love when that happens.
And then clearly tomorrow, Northwestern, Boston College.
Oh my god! Where is that happening?
I don't know.
Well, they're both cold places, so like they can handle it. Oh my god!
Izzy Skane is back for Northwestern.
Skane.
Belle Smith.
She's so awesome.
I think she had like 12 something points in their last game. I don't know.
I love Belle Smith. I remember watching the national championship game when she was a freshman. And I was like, I don't get it.
You know, watching her
How is
run
she
is
doing
like,
it?
you know who it's like, and I know I made this comment yesterday about Laura Harmon, but watching Belle Smith run reminds me of like watching Sascha Newmarch run. Because
Okay, guys.
you
Yeah, I mean,
only
just
see
so
legs. You only see legs.
you only see legs. Sascha Newmarch, okay, is an Australian player way back in the day from Maryland. Way back in the day, it's like our time.
Our day.
Was so, I mean, fluid. Like it's like a gazelle mixed with like a snake in a good way, like a beautiful way. You know what I mean? Like, and the things that they can get into, the trouble that they cause out there for other people.
Because they're so
it's
fast.
insane.
I can remember
so
playing
fast
on Maryland's old field against them, and it was a torrential downpour. And she caught the ball at the 50-yard line. We had restraining lines at this point, because freshman year we didn't have restraining lines. But I slipped. And the only reason
we didn't even have boundaries my freshman year. They were just like, the field just doesn't end.
We slipped. I slipped. And I slid, and that's the only reason I caught up to her is because I slid on the grass field. And I caught up to her, and then I was like, I can't stop her, so I'm just gonna have to hit her.
Oh,
like
Steffi.
I mean, not actually.
Why you give away the family secrets? Just kidding.
I didn't actually hit her. Okay, that was Sarah Forbes I had to hit.
Sarah Forbes, another Australian, like perennial or multiple world champion for Australia and coach of the team. I think still now, right?
I mean,
she's still one of the coaches. She's just so amazing. I think she considered playing in the last World Cup, but she's had like 17 ACL surgeries.
I know, and I think she was actually inducted into the Maryland Hall of Fame. Actually,
yeah, she was.
She went in with
she came back over. I feel like
too. It was awesome.
Okay, so let's just, because we have to wrap this up, but I have to say, like, you will be getting from this show a lot of references from the old days, because we have such reverence for players that we played against way back when, and there's so much talent throughout lacrosse from the late 90s or the mid 90s even to now. There's so much transcendent talent.
Well, and we were also so lucky to play against them, but we also played with them a lot.
Oh, we also played with them. It was the first time people were starting to play together, but like we just have so much respect. I mean, give me really quickly, like give me your not your top players. Who are 3 players that played in the olden days that you think would crush now? And obviously Jen Adams. So let's take her out of it. So Jen would obviously.
So Jen's out of it. I mean, I don't consider
Mandy O'Leary.
Gosh, yeah.
Mandy O'Leary.
I think when I first got the job with you and Mandy at Yale, like we played and she had just had a baby or was still pregnant or something. And I was like, this is the best person I've ever seen play sport for. Like Mandy O'Leary was just, I mean, Sherry Greer and Kelly Amonte, like I don't know I don't know how to not, along with, and Kelly played with Sarah Forbes and Sascha Newmarch at Maryland. I mean, Randall Goldsboro, like, talk about...
Randall, God,
talk about,
Randall.
Like, a little mini girl who's just like...
I mean, the skinniest... I remember... So when I played against Randall in high school basketball, I think she set the Maryland 3-point record against me. That was embarrassing. Okay, but I was like, I can't... How am I supposed to guard somebody who's 5'11"? And my coach is like, she's literally 5'3". I was like,
she's listed as 5'11" though. In the basketball program.
I have written speeches about this part of Randall where I was like, I thought she was 5'11". I thought she was humongous. She plays. She has such.
Like she was 5'11".
She has such big energy. It's insane. Anyway, all right. So you're gonna get a lot of old time talk. So I would say Mandy O'Leary for sure. Yeah. I would say. Sascha Forbes is transcendent.
Yeah, I mean, I would even, it's interesting because
Aaron O'Neill in the cage. Oh. Have you seen a better goalie ever? Steffi? Ever?
I don't know if I have.
Ever.
Yeah.
Come on. I got to play with her. She's played at Princeton, and she won a national championship in 1994 when she was a sophomore. Yeah, because I played with her.
You played with her in
yeah.
I mean, I can't, other than talking about some of the current goalkeepers, like a Taylor Moreno, I can't.
Taylor Moreno is,
she's
awesome. I got a chance to interview her over the summer, and I was just like, dude, she's just one of those cool ass kids where you're like, why?
And she's doing,
she's so fly. She's so fit.
She's doing something, I talked about Charlotte North yesterday and sort of what she's doing in this space and like owning it. And I think Taylor's another one that is coming along really well and doing that. And I'm excited to see what they do post-collegially, not necessarily from a USA lacrosse perspective, but what they do in like their own branding and stuff like that.
Well, let's just end with that. I think Charlotte North is a really good point because she's probably the biggest hole that we will see in all of college lacrosse. Yeah. And there's so much room for so many people to move into the space that she really carved out. And it's not that we weren't trying to do it starting way back when, but she had this way to amalgamate, but power, strength, skill. And I would say with a fourth thing, confidence. She never apologized for anything. And she shouldn't have. She owned all of that space, that power, that strength, that skill. And she was like, I'm going to do the same thing.
And if you go and watch, she threw out the first pitch at one of the Texas Rangers games because
please tell me she's a terrible baseball thrower because so am I.
Well, she did it with her stick and she literally whipped it behind her back to the catcher. And I was I
can't. It's so legit.
Legit.
I want to talk to Charlotte and be like, is it all, and this is what I think about college lacrosse, as we break down the game, as we talk about coaches and just dare to think that we could even, know what they're thinking and all the decision making, and kids out there, all the players out there who are like going and just bravely going into these big stakes games, there's always like a person behind all of that. Yeah. The person who wakes up with themselves every morning, a person who lives that life, who puts on their own socks, underwear, pants, whatever you're doing, dress that day. And I think that that's really important because we're not saying that all these players who play so confident out there are not struggling, off the field or whatever. So I want to make a ton of room for that, and I want to be able to talk about it on the show. This is our first episode of Woman Up Lax for the 2023 season. Follow us wherever you found us because we have no idea where we are, but we hope we're in your feed somewhere. Everybody have a great week. We'll be back.
Awesome sauce.
Toodles.